Welcome to VibeCheck. I'm gonna try that again. I'm gonna try that one more time.
More energy, Chris.
Welcome back. You're listening to VibeCheck on CJSF 90.1 FM. Today we are going to be interviewing one of our own hosts, Kalyan Rath. He released a little project recently, which Kalyan and I are both on. So pretty excited about that. Do you wanna talk about it? Yeah. The best song from the album is not
yes.
the EP.
The name of the project is.
What was sort of like? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought you were asking what was the.
I can ask you after. So
okay.
You can introduce it a bit.
Yeah, I'll introduce it a bit. So this is the third volume of my Before series. So I've been creating these projects called Before Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. This is the third one that I just dropped, and these are all songs that I've this just kind of for myself to kind of go back and listen to it, for people to listen to my progress, but it's not really a part of like my main music, like my main aesthetic, and like whatever word choice you want to use of like what I want to be as a musician. Like I already have singles and stuff and like an album that I want to put together, and these are songs that I didn't necessarily want in that like main project to represent me as like a musician, but something that I still wanted out, because I did work very hard on these songs, and I was like, you know what, I don't think they should just sit around in a folder and never be heard by anyone. I know someone out there will like it, so I was like, let's do this, let's drop it. And I said I was gonna drop September, and I did. I'm very happy I did. I'm pretty happy with the outcome too. A lot of people liked it, so yeah,
of course, my song.
Especially Lost in a Dream featuring Hallelujah and Kambashi Lee, also known as Hallelujah and Chris. Yeah, it's a great song. Go listen to that song too. Yeah.
Streaming platforms. Yeah, I noticed that it didn't really match the sort of style that I usually hear on your songs, and so I guess this is just like a compilation of songs that don't necessarily like would go on a whole album, but just you wanted to publish and sort of get out there.
I think the main reason especially about this project is the past two Before projects have been heavily R&B and like hip-hop music, and like just kind of me making like very similar, like these similar beats. I like when I started making beats when I was like 14, it was all hip-hop. I was your type beats producer. I was making Drake type beats, all the Travis Scott type beats, all of that on YouTube. That's what I used to do. But I wanted to be a better producer, and I've always loved like all this the electronic side of music is something that I've always been the most interested in. At the end of the day, like yes, I have been singing my whole life, and the same with like piano and all that stuff, but just the electronic side has been the most interesting. So I decided like this project, I'm gonna finally like just truly show that, and like, you know, I've like it's just completely get away from that normal stuff that I make, and show people like, hey, like I'm more than just this. Like you don't put me in a box, simple as that. Like I don't know how else to explain that. Like because people are like, oh, he's just another rapper now, or like, oh, he makes cool beats and he just raps on it. But there's a lot of people that already do that. It's like, well, I can do more than just hip hop and rap kind of thing. So yeah, the point of this project was mainly to kind of just be like, hey, I'm more than that. So, and if you can disagree or agree by going and listening to the project for yourself and seeing, yeah.
So, I think that really came through. I was honestly, again, like surprised, and I really like, to be honest, I will be honest here, the song that me and Hallelujah aren't my least favorite song of the EP, the project. That's
Dream song.
I think it is the most streamed song, but personally speaking, I like all the songs. Like I like them. Like I've been listening to them. They're in my like playlist. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm on the song, but I don't like it as much. I don't know what it is. It's just I think it's because
I think it may have to do with that was the first song I made out of all those songs. Like I didn't make it particularly for the Before Volume 3, but it was actually those. Remember we had recorded another song, and then nothing really happened with that song, so I just took those vocals and made this. And and I just thought it was really cool, so I was like, I'm gonna throw it in, and yeah, that was pretty much it. But it was like the first one. This actually, I had made this song even before I had like learned a lot about mixing and mastering, like EDM kind of music, and like music in that genre. I hadn't learned to mix and master, so that was like my first attempt at that. Like, you can tell that's like the least mixed and mastered track out of all the songs. You can tell I should have spent a little bit more time on it easily. Like there's like, you know, I remember a few of my friends were like, oh, this song fired, but you're like your mids are crashing and things like that, right? Like I could have definitely spent a little bit more time on that song than the rest of the songs. But yeah, it is a lot of people's favorites though. And it actually does have a lot to do with, as much as I don't want to admit it, Hallelujah's vocals. Everyone has, a lot of people have told me the best part about the whole project is Hallelujah's vocals. Even my own mom told me she Hallelujah had a bigger presence on the project, and her vocals were there more because she really liked the vocals. So that probably has to do with the song being the most popular.
Also because I'm so famous.
Yeah.
And popular.
So famous.
But yeah, the project was really good. I do not like admitting it, but it was a good project overall. Comparing it to like the other, like in your before series, of course, like pre-ACID and post-ACID. This is your first like post-ACID first year project.
Yeah, this is my first time.
the Wrath of Mr. Alt. Shout out to Mr. Alt.
You can see the difference.
None of this.
Mr. Alt, he definitely changed.
The show wouldn't be around without him. Yeah.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, my before volume one my before volume one was actually right before ACID started. That's when I had finished the project. My before volume 2 was like halfway through ACID, and then before volume 3, it's been months since ACID. Yeah, but you can see huge differences and what the program has done for me and what Mr. Alt has done for me. So yeah. It's been great.
Yeah, a week of school starting. What do you think he's gonna say when when he's like, "Yo, I heard your project"? What do you think is gonna?
Yeah, I actually want to know. He probably has already listened to the project. Like every time I've dropped something, he's always known. And I think all the ACID kids, he always listens to everything that we drop. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of for the mixing and the mastering, especially. I'm gonna get a lot of comments about that because it definitely could have been better on tracks. And I think transitions. I don't know if you could tell, but I also my transitions were like the audio levels didn't really match in certain tracks. I didn't like mix and master them together. I did them all at different times, which was a mistake because then the transitions weren't as cool as they could have been. So I already know that that's something he's gonna comment on. And yeah, I don't think he's gonna comment.
He would say great growth.
maybe great I don't know. I very rarely get compliments from him. Maybe I'll hear. I think he'll be happy to hear that I've kind of focused a little bit more on I've improved on like my production stuff, but yeah, there's still a lot of room to work on, and hopefully this next year I can get a lot better. So yeah.
For context, for any listeners that don't know, we were all in a industry and training program last year for music production and other related topics. Mr. Alt, our teacher, these two,
composition and production, right? Yeah. So like composing music and then producing it. That's the course. Yeah.
I honestly think it's impressive that you can look at your project that you've just released and like go through it and you can pinpoint what you already can improve, and I think that is something that's really valuable. I don't know if that's what you've learned in ACID, but I think that it's cool that you can look at it with like a more objective view than maybe I could.
Yeah, I've always liked I had a friend who literally texted me. He was I'm like, have you listened? Like he was like asking something music related, and I was like, have you listened to my new project, right? And then he was like, yeah. And then I'm like, so what do you think of it? And he's like, to be honest, he's like, this is way better than anything you've ever put out like before. And then he didn't want it to come off as mean. Like he thought he would come off as mean, like, oh, like your other stuff is trash and this is the only good stuff you dropped. And it's like, to be honest, I'm glad that people think it's a growth thing. I'd rather, like, if people think my old stuff is trash and that I'm getting better, that's amazing to me. I don't like, yeah, that's the best feeling in the world for me. That like say a year from now I drop another project or whatever, I drop a few more singles from now and they sound better, the quality's better, like lyrically, production wise, it's better. And this like it's like, oh, that was actually pretty bad compared to this. It's like, oh, like that's sick, like right, that's perfect. Like that's a great feeling for me. So I always like I've like people always like they'll work on their whatever projects, not to drop any names, they'll work on a project for super long time to like perfect it or whatever. But I think I've gotten to a point where I do not care much for like the perfection part of it, because this is music, this is your choice.
It's art.
I don't think it can ever be perfect, but I think you can be happy with it, right? And I think everything that I've ever dropped before volume 1, when I dropped it, I was happy with it. Like, I think that when I dropped it, I knew right away there was a lot of improvement, but I was happy that I had dropped it, because I was like, this is a good step up from what I was doing before, right? And same thing with before volume 2, that this is like a step up before. Like, this is I dropped it knowing that it's like, it's not as great as I want it to be, but it's like, it's a step up from before volume 1. And if it just reaches that, like, that next step for me, I'm gonna release it, because I love to listen back and see, oh, like, look at them, he's climbing the steps.
It's like the next step in your evolution, right? So
exactly, yeah. That's why I'm never really afraid to drop stuff. Like, unless I like, you know, unless I don't work hard on the song, then I won't drop it. Simple as that. Like, if it's something, if I put effort into something, I want to show people, like, that's, you know, right? Like,
there's like the stereotype of the artist that's just like never gonna be happy with their own work. I feel like I moved past like being like, I think people mix up being happy with your own work with like the perfectionist aspect of it, right?
Yeah, it's literally that. Like people will hold back on their music because it's not like perfect to them, right? And it's like, I don't think it'll ever be perfect to you. Like, you're like, especially for very creative people, I think of myself as someone that's pretty creative. I've done, right, like, my mom's a filmmaker. My whole life she's kept me around a lot of creative stuff, so I've watched, like, you know, a lot of films, things like that, right? My dad's always on me about reading books. He loves for me to read Indian poetry, which I don't do, but I'm trying to get into it. But which I don't do, but I'm bringing that up. I keep saying I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just one day sit down, translate it, go through it. But just, yeah, things like that keep you creative, right? And things like art, like through all of high school, I until actually grade 11, I was taking art classes. You know, I was in band. Just anything that kept my creative flow going, I'd keep doing. And I feel that I've gotten to a point, creative wise, that I have all these crazy ideas, and I just think they're so crazy to the point where I'm never going to be able to, like, reach exactly what I had pictured in my head. But I'll just be proud of myself if I worked hard to get as close as I possibly can, right, at whatever knowledge I have now, right? So, like, you know, further down the line, I'm going to be able to get even closer and closer to whatever my goals are in certain areas, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the Indian poetry part that you just mentioned. If you do translate that, I want to send that over to me, because I want to read that. I don't know what Indian poetry is like at all.
Oh, like, it's some he's been telling me about these old Hindu philosophers that wrote this poetry. And I've been saying that one day me and him are going to sit down and we're going to translate it, and I'm going to be able to read it. And I really badly want to, because I like, he's told me many times that it's going to change my life, and I truly believe it will change my life. Like, you know, I think, like, just as like and a lyrical point for me, I feel like my lyrics and music will change a lot from that point. Things like that. Just, I feel like old poetry, you can learn a lot from that, and a lot of art. Reading can especially help you a lot with.
Oh yeah, no, reading definitely helps.
But it's like, I've grown up my whole life. I grew up in Houston, Texas, and I've read nothing but like I don't know. A lot of the books I'd have would be like, there are a lot of fiction books, a lot of things like
Percy
that.
Jackson.
Like, yeah, Percy Jackson is like a good example. I'm trying to think of some other books.
I mean, those are good books. I will not lie. Those are good books.
When I moved here, I started reading a lot of books about the Japanese, what's it called? The Japanese camps. What are they called again? The
internment camps?
Yeah, I read a lot of books about that too. Yeah, I know. I think it'd be really cool to read poetry in a different language. And I'm someone who loves to travel. I'm fortunate enough to have parents that you know, literally take me everywhere. I swear I've traveled the world, like around the world, many times now. I don't know how many, but yeah, it's always just, you know, I feel like the more culture I'm surrounded by, the better my creativity will get. And same with my music. I feel like if I can read some poetry from some old philosopher in India, he's definitely gonna have something a lot more different to say than like a Western philosopher kind of thing, right? Right. Like, that's my thinking. So I think it'll change my life. I keep saying my dad's giving me the offer so many times. I am the one that's just struggling to go and ask him, let's go sit down and do this. I just keep forgetting. I feel terrible. Like I've
Put a reminder on your phone, like. Yeah, next Saturday, go talk to Dad about it.
I gotta, yeah. I just definitely gotta do that, and yeah, I'll 100% send it to you.
Yes,
and if
please,
anyone listening wants to
so
see the translator version, please hit me up. I would gladly send it to you because I genuinely think it'll change your life. And I haven't even read it, and I already know it's gonna yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've gone to that point.
That's one thing too. Just like subjecting yourself to as many varied and different like experiences as possible. It's like it definitely is gonna affect, I feel like, your creative process positively, right? Because it's just like more you can infuse and like put into like the different influences into your art, into your music, whatever it is, for different creative processes. But like, yeah, I think that trying to learn and experience as much as you can is definitely a great way to help with creating things, whatever personally you like to do. Yeah, I want to take it back to
out of a genre.
Yeah, don't confine yourself, I feel like, because like I feel like certain limits are always good for growth, but restricting yourself too much isn't, you know.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I see a lot of problems in this world, I feel like have to do with people not like just I feel like
being open-minded and that sort of thing.
Traveling the world helps people, like has helped me been such an open-minded person. I think like I'm very like I just see a lot of hate in this world, and I feel like being open-minded can change that kind of thing, right? And like when you're traveling, you do a lot of open-minded stuff. You eat food that you'll never eat before, or you'll sleep where you've never thought you would sleep before, kind of thing, right? Like it's just with the different cultures, being able to adapt just helps a lot. And I just find it to be a very important thing. And I know it's like traveling is such a privilege, and right now no one can travel, so like it's really hard to be able to just be like, yeah, traveling can fix all the world problems. But I just feel like, I don't know, things in like schools maybe should put a little bit more effort into kind of teaching more stuff from around the world, instead of like I don't know, I feel like I've been learning about World War II for like 4 years now. I think we get it. Like it's like, you know, like
it's not even like World War II. You're learning about Canadian.
Yeah, I think most of my schooling, when I went to Houston, we didn't learn any social studies. All we learned was Texas is the best. So that's it. That's what happens when I lived there. And then when I moved here, the big difference was like, okay, now we're learning a bit more about history, like world history, but it was a lot more to do like after the white people invaded everything. Like it was like, I don't know how else to explain it, but all the history was after the white people invaded everything, right? Like not what was the culture in like India or like Africa. Like that's like, yeah, like it's gotten to a point where like, you know, right, I think if we learn more about that stuff, it'll be cool. Like, and it's cool stuff. Like you know, like white
history
people
is really interesting. Yeah.
like for example, like just world cultures. Even now, like forget like old history for a second. Just like even now, like I know white people are really fascinated by things like they'll go to Japan and they'll see the toilets or something like that. Like you know the toilets with the
isn't that
crazy? And there's like way more of that wherever you travel.
Are they
in the world,
like, or do you have a boring toilet right now? Think about that. That's something to ponder.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's more of that. And I remember like I forgot how many years ago. It's been like forever now. Like I went to Germany to stay with some of my dad's friends, or my dad's parents' friends, or anyways, the point is we went to stay in Germany. We stayed with this like family friend, and I remember one thing that was amazing, like one cool thing about that place a lot. I forgot exactly where we stayed in Germany, but they were the crosswalks were a very big deal there. There was literally stores where they sold gummies and like plushies of just like the figure of the man walking. It's not the same man walking as here. It's not the same. It's like it's completely different.
It's different.
Yeah, it's like he has like a face. It's sick though. I don't know. I can't describe it to you because it's been so long since I've been there. But like the point is, it's crazy. Just those little things, and I think important things like that create less hate in this world, because it's like, oh my god, they're fascinated by crosswalks here. Like that's crazy. Like isn't that crazy? Like that's not something you think about, right? And it's like, you know. Yeah.
I think when you look and experience different cultures, it's a chance to also like reflect and like inspect your own culture and what you're a part of, what you've grown up with. And I think that's also really good to just sort of observe that and then observe yourself and just like
it keeps me grounded for sure. Like, I ask any of my friends, I jokingly talk like I have a big ego. I promise you I don't actually have a big ego.
not too sure.
But like it's like I've been to India multiple times, and my dad has taken me to where he grew up in India, and that alone, like I can go into even more stories of that. Like I've been to schools in his area too and stuff like that, and I've seen like kids will go to school, they won't even have clothes. They'll literally show up naked because they have no clothes to wear. Like their family can't afford clothes for them, and it's like I see things like that, and I see like it kind of keeps me like very grounded. It's like I'm so lucky that like I have such a hardworking dad that like he grew up in like this house. Like I remember the house was like there was like there was no roof. Like it was like there was like a roof, but it was like it was weird to explain. It's like not like it's not like this like right now I'm like in my own room with a door. That was not a thing there, right? Like he was telling me stories about like growing up. His mom, for clothes, if they ever ran out of clothes, they would literally use the what do you call it? the window
curtains.
Blind. Yeah, they use curtains, and the mom would sew new clothes with the curtains. And it was like we don't got to do that here. Like it's like everyone here, and and definitely like things like that have got me like I'm so like I gotta be grateful for what I have, because like look what these kids have to deal with out here, and they're still like working hard, like they're not complaining about their life. They still go to school every day with whatever their struggle is at home and things like that, right? And it's and that's especially what keeps people open-minded. It's like, okay, you see what everyone else is dealing with. It kind of keeps you like damn, be grateful for what you have, and when you're grateful, you're generally a happy person. So
I mean, yeah, I agree with most of that there, but I wanna bring it back to your project because we got a bit sidetracked there.
Yeah, we got really sidetracked there, but that was a great conversation.
I wanted to ask you what was your favorite song to like make, or just your favorite song on the EP?
Okay,
like, what was your favorite song for whatever reason?
My favorite song, I loved making all of them equally. I actually kind of go into like little points real quick. So like the first song, the Reality Surf, that one was one of my favorite. Like that was it probably, I don't know where I'd rank it in my favorite. It was fun to make that one, especially because I've always been into a lot of movie soundtracks. I love Black Panther, especially because of the movie soundtrack, for example, right? So like I wrote that piece and like compose and like produce it as if I was producing for a movie kind of thing. Starting point was that track was kind of me, just like I was literally just one day bored on the mic, and I just started like whatever I was kind of feeling, then I just kind of just projected it, and then I just turned it into that. And that was like one of my first times just going like full out on this like EDM kind of track thing. Lost in a Dream was just very fun to make, just because I already had those vocals, and my goal was just kind of be like an upbeat, happy song, and I think I did a pretty good job of that. And Phases was very actually quick to make. It was just, I already had the vocals actually. Like someone had sent me the vocals, and I just like used it. So it was very similar to Lost in a Dream, but Phases was supposed to be like, nice. That guy's really talented. Yeah, his name's Mac 10. I don't know his real name, but I just know that's his artist name. But yeah, he sent me the vocals for like, that ending piece. I had like written that first, because that was actually supposed to be like the Reality Surf piece, where it's supposed to be like for a movie. But then
Take a Trip, is sick. Like it's really,
and final piece, Take a Trip, Take the Hype. If there's a favorite song that I had made on that project I worked on, it was that one, because I had written that song actually about the camping trip. So we had went on a camp. Me, Chris, and a few other of our friends went on this camping trip, and we were there. August. August 13th. Yeah. While we're there, I believe the first day, the very first full day that we're there, right? So not August 11th, us and our group of friends decided to take a hike, right? We went on this hike. And it was just not that long. It was like a kilometer long hike, but it was all uphill. It was it felt like we're like literally climbing, but it was so. And when we got to the top though, Oh my god.
There was this,
Yeah.
yeah.
I took so many photos, and just the moment, like I was so happy I brought my speaker, because we were just playing this very calm music, and everyone's just kind of sitting at the rocks, and the water's just gorgeous, the trees gorgeous, the whole atmosphere was just a great feeling being up there. And I just wanted to make like a very happy song. So those of you that can't understand the lyrics in the songs, I know I recorded them very poorly. I didn't have a good mic when recording them. So like I literally say, let's take a trip, like let's take a hike. I couldn't ask for better. I don't want a different life. That's like the main lyric that gets repeated at the end, right? And that was the whole story of the song. Simple as that. I was like, this hike, I was so happy, because throughout all of 2020 has been very rough for me. Like, you know, not like COVID, all that stuff, it's been rough for everyone because of COVID. But like I've had a lot of problems with friends, right? Like I've had a lot of problems with friends at school, and I've had struggles, like I've always my whole life had struggles communicating with people, but I could really tell this year, like I guess it was the toughest this year, especially with everything being online, to talk to people.
It's certainly
and
different
actually
than,
like face to face. So I did actually like this, like through the ASIP program and through a lot of people, I've gained a lot of friends this year, actually, in like the beginning of the year before a lot of COVID stuff, but also at the same time I have lost quite a few friends. And like the starting point of the song, that was kind of about that. Like I feel so lost, I feel a little bit weak, like what am I doing to hurt these people that so many people are just cutting me out of their life, like they don't even want to like talk to me and give me a chance to like still be friends. Like, you know, I'll make one slip up and they want to cut me off completely, and it's like you know, it's not like, right? And so that song, that day, particularly that hike, I was up there with you and Genki, and I'm like, this is the new group of, this feels like this is like the new group of people I'm hanging around with, right? Like this is my new main friends, I guess you can call. And I was just like, the song was just kind of like, I don't want a different life. Like I'm so happy that actually these other friends kind of cut me off, because I never really felt like one with that group of friends, right? Because I just didn't fit in. I was just like, I love to make music, I love to just be very creative about things, and they just like different things. No hate to them, nothing like that. They're not bad people. It literally, I think it was simple as we didn't click. I think we ended off in terrible terms for whatever reason. I don't know why. I tried my best to make sure everything was cool with them, but we just ended off in terrible terms because of things that they were saying and things that they were just making up. People were just making up stuff, just normal high school drama. But I just didn't want to be involved with that stuff. And I remember with this group, that just didn't exist. High school drama just doesn't exist with this group. Like it's weird to explain that.
I feel like part of that is just the environment is sort of different, especially when we were in the ASIP program. We were all there to make music together, and it's not like the normal sort of scenario where you're stuck in a class with people and you just have to, you know, that sort of thing. And
but no, like this new group of friends that have like kind of come together, all these musician friends, and even bigger than that, right, that have kind of come together. It's just been great. Like just a lot of the talks that we're having, and a lot of it's just, you know, and that's particularly what that song is about. Take a trip, let's take a hike, because I just really loved that hike, and I really loved that we just did that. I was obviously very nervous at first about going on this hike with all of us, but it was easily like one of the best, if not the best days of this year for me. Like it's like just in life generally, I'm gonna remember that moment forever, like that hike, because it was just a great hike. And I was like, I've like moved on from a lot of these other problems in my life, and I'm now friends with these new people, and I love that I'm friends with these new people because they make me feel happier, and I hope that I do the same for them, and just everything's great. And it's simple as that. Like that's why that was one of my favorite songs to make.
That's a song.
It was also mainly, it was like I've always wanted to make music like that, and I've never really had the courage to, because of my old friends. Like they're like, if I didn't make anything that was hip-hop related, they're like garbage.
Not into it.
And I'm not scared, but like that's what, and I don't know why before I was so scared to not make anything else, because they wouldn't listen to it if I wasn't hip-hop, and I wanted people to listen to my music, but they wouldn't listen to it unless it wasn't hip-hop. So that's why I spent a lot of time making it hip-hop. And with this group is like, okay, I can make whatever I want now, and like it's, I don't have to worry. Like, they're still gonna go listen to it. They can have their opinion, they can not like it, but they're still gonna listen to it. It's like, okay, sick. Like that's the best feeling, right? It's like I can make whatever I want now without worrying about what people think. I've like gotten to that point in my life that I'm like, okay, like this is it. I really don't have like no one is. I have no no bullies or anything like that going at me like, oh my god, you suck, or like, right? Like it's, you know, well obviously I get like, every musician gets hate, but like it's not the same feeling as because those guys were supposed to be my friends and they were not. Like I thought I didn't have any other friends besides them, and the fact that they were trashing the music was a different feeling, right? Obviously when people say stuff online, that's whatever, right?
It's easy. It's definitely easier to ignore that.
Like I'm not saying it's easy when I'm not saying it's like easy to deal with that. I'm not trying to like lie to anyone that's new to music. Like you will deal with that, and that's the truth, and it is tough. Like just be open about that. It is tough, but like it's just harder when it's from someone you know, like someone that you're supposed to like trust, right? And it's like, you know,
so it definitely hurts more.
Yeah, and now I've gotten to a point where a lot of my close friends that I trust in my life, I can like make whatever I want, and they'll come with their honest opinion without being like trash, garbage, doo-doo. Like they'd be like, yo, that song was fire. I personally,
hey, yo, that song was doo-doo, bro. That song was that's terrible.
That, right? Like it's, you know, like it's, you know, that I'll actually get proper critique of my music now, and like people will generally go and listen to the music to actually have an opinion before saying whatever kind of thing, right? And you know, I'm basically.
Listen to Take a Trip, Take a Hike, a recommendation from me and Kalyan. It's a good song.
Definitely one of my favorites.
It's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
Also listen to Lost in a Dream because I'm on it, and so is Hallelujah.
I think we gotta get to the show.
Yeah, this is a good spot to end the show. This was me interviewing Kalyan Rath. His new EP dropped how many days ago?
If you're listening to they're listening to this tomorrow, so Tuesday. Yeah, they're listening. So it dropped last Friday to those listening live. But yeah, so
before Volume 3 on all major.
If you're listening to this on the radio, just search up Kalyan Rath, KALYANRATH on all platforms. If you're listening to this on YouTube, I should have the links in the description, so it should be easier for you to find it. And that'll bring us to and this was Vibe Check on CGSF 90.1 FM. Tune in next week, Tuesday, 3 p.m., same time every week. Stay groovy.